Okay. How is my internet?
Good.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Okay. So this is the mini case 6-39. Okay. This is one. As you can see, there are lots of information, right? So I'm going to do this slowly with you guys. So hopefully you will be able to interpret the problem and analyze the information and use it properly, okay? Okay, so let's read this question here. 6-39. Okay, so Grant Shu is the product manager at this company. The company sells really big lollipops in two sizes, large and giant lollipops to convenience stores, at fairs, and to schools for the fundraisers, as well as a bulk channel on the internet. So this is something like when you read the questions, you don't have to read very fast, right? Do it slowly and try absorb as much information as you can, right? And so don't rush your time on this, right? Grant is preparing the sales budget for the summer. Knowing a successful sales season will have a big impact on his performance review. Expected sales are based on past experience. Other information for the month of June follows. So right now we are dealing for 1 month, right? The June, okay? So input price. So now we are talking about the cost, the price, okay? The dollar amount, right? When we talk about price. So materials, they are sugar and the sticks, right? So I like this question because it's very straightforward, right? Lollipop, not that complicated, right? By the way, do you guys know there is a candy store in either Nanton or Claire's home? I forgot which city. Do you guys know? Did any of you ever shopped in that candy store? I forgot. It's either in Nanton or in Claire's home between Calgary and Lethbridge. Does anyone know? Ever been there?
It's in Nanton.
Nanton, right? It's very amazing. You go to the candy store. Wow, there's all kinds of candies. Okay, that's my kid's favorite place, and we really like that the maple leaf shape, the maple syrup kind of lollipop. Okay, so you can see the materials. It's sugar and the stick, right? And how much the cost would be per kilogram. Okay, is $50. The steak is 30 cents. Each steak is 30 cents, right? And the direct manufacturing labor. So this is like direct labor. Okay, so must be all handmade, right? So that should be $8, right? This is crazy, yeah. Per hour, that direct manufacturing labor, this is a typo. It's not 0.008, should be $8, okay? So that's the price information. Okay, let's move to the right side. Okay, let's move to the right side. We have input quantities per unit of output. So input quantities per unit of output. The idea is, okay, for each large lollipop, okay, what kind of inputs do I need, right? What are the materials, labor, and overhead, okay? So here, for each large lollipop, okay, you are going to need a 1/4 pound sugar, and you need 1 stick, right? If the size is bigger, the giant, you're gonna have 1/2 pound sugar and 1 stick, still 1 stick. That's a lot of sugar, huh? That must be a very giant, like lollipop. 1/2 pound sugar, boy. So the direct manufacturing labor hours, okay. So for the large one, you're gonna take 0.2 hours, 12 minutes. For the giant, bigger ones, okay, so maybe you have to take more time. So that will be So that's a quarter, 15 minutes. It takes 3 minutes more to make that giant lollipop, okay? And the setup hours per batch, okay? Setup hours per batch. So the for the large one, it's 0.08 hours. So that's kind of like 4.8 minutes. And for the giant, 0.09 hours. So that's gonna be 5.4 minutes, okay? So that's how much it takes to set up, okay? So to make that one lollipop, okay, you need this much materials, you need one stick, you need to have some labor hours incurred, and then you need to have the setup hours, okay? Now let's take a look at the inventory information for the materials, right? Materials, that means it's sugar or the sticks, right? Sugar and sticks. The beginning inventory, 125 pound sugar and the 350 sticks. The target ending inventory, we are talking about at the end of the June, right? This is just 1 month, okay? We want to have 240 pound sugar and 480 sticks. Cost of the beginning inventory, right? This is something you have to be aware. When you talk about the inventory, there are basically two parameters. One is quantity, right? Something you can count, right? You can measure, right? The other one is the cost, right? The dollar sign, right? So we know the beginning inventory has 125 pound sugar, and how much that cost? The cost is $60. And at the beginning of the inventory, the beginning inventory has 350 sticks. How much does that cost? That's $105. Okay. Here we have information. Company using FIFO. Okay, when they deal with inventory, right? For the cost, inventory costing, they are using FIFO, right? You have learned FIFO in the 2100, right? And now let's take a look at the finished goods inventory and the sales information, okay? So in June, they are expecting the sales, how many units? They are expecting to sell 3,000, oops. They are expecting to sell 3,000 large lollipops and 1,800 giant lollipop, okay? And what's the selling price? $3 for the large one, and a little bit extra money, $1 extra for the giant, $4 for the giant. Okay. The target ending inventory in unit. Okay. We want to have at the end of June, we want to have 300 large lollipops and 180 giant lollipops. Okay, and the beginning, okay, how much do we have in the beginning? We have 300 large lollipops and 150 giant lollipops. And what's the cost? What's the dollar amount? Okay, so in the beginning, there are 200 large lollipops, and the cost is, the inventory cost is 500. So each one, the cost is $2.5. And the giant, the 150 giant lollipops, each one, the inventory cost is $474. Okay. And again, for the finished goods inventory, they also use FIFO. Okay. Okay, so all the lollipops are made in batches of 10. So we are talking about a setup for each batch. So each batch contains 10 pieces, right? 10 lollipops. The manufacturing overhead, they also incur manufacturing overhead, marketing, and the admin cost. But the customer pay for shipping, okay? Other than manufacturing labor cost, monthly processing costs are very low. The company used ABC has classified all overhead costs for the month of June as shown in the following chart. Okay, so for manufacturing overhead, there are two pools. One is to set up, the other one is to process. So the activity, so for the setup, they use setup hours, and each setup hours, the rate is $20. For the processing, okay, so they are using the direct manufacturing labor hour as the activity. So the rate is for each direct labor hour, that processing cost is 1.7. Okay, so this is the manufacturing cost. The non-manufacturing cost, the marketing and the general admin, okay, this is the period cost, and they are using the sales revenue dollars. So 10% of that will be allocated to this cost, budgeted, okay? Whew, boy, that's a lots of information. How do you feel about this amount of information? Do you feel, if you feel it's overwhelmed, please give me a thumb up. If you feel after reading all this information, you feel a little bit overwhelmed, it's just too much information, give me a thumb up. Okay, yeah, yeah. Yes, yeah, okay. Half of the class feel that way, okay? That's why, take your time, okay? Take your time, read the question carefully, okay? And try to understand the information, okay? How can you use this information, okay? So let's do this together, okay? Let's do this together. Just give me 1 second, okay? So now let's do the first question. Remember which budget we should do first? Samarin?
Revenue budget.
The revenue budget, right? So let's do the revenue budget first. So revenue budget, you want to know the sales number, right? The amount of units sold, okay? And you know the selling price. So that's pretty easy. So, okay, so revenue budget, is that pretty easy? You tell me, is that easy?
Yes, quite straightforward.
Very straightforward, right? So don't feel bad, right? You know, this is the big question, but we'll break it down, right? We'll break it down. So this one, do we have any question here? So revenue budget, you want to know how much money, how many revenues you are going to generate, right? You know, 3,000 large, you can sell 3,000 large lollipop for $3 each. So that total revenue from the large lollipop would be 9,000. And you know that you are expecting to sell 1,800 giant lollipops at $4 each. So you use the multiplication, right? So that's the 7,200. And together, the combined dollar amount revenue would be 16,200. Okay? Is this pretty straightforward? Can I move on? You tell me, boss. Tell me, boss. Can I move on?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so next, what's the next one? What's the next one?
Production budget.
Production budget, okay. So now let's work on the production budget. I'm highlighting using this highlight, the yellow color to highlight where we are, okay? We are under the first question, B. We are dealing with the production budget, okay? Okay, so production budget, which inventory we are going to use to figure this out? Which inventory? Finished goods inventory, yeah. Okay, that's good. So let's take a look. So production budget, okay, production budget. I have two products, right? Large and giant. Okay, so where I can find the information? Well, I know the sales number, right? We know the sales number is given here. Can you see this blue color highlight in the middle of the right side of the screen? So that's your sales number, right? In terms of units, 3,000 for large and 1,800 for the giant. So we are dealing with the finished goods inventory. Do we know the beginning and ending finished goods inventory? Do we know that?
Yes.
Somebody just shout it out.
Yep.
Yes.
What's the beginning? What's the ending inventory for the finished goods? Inga, what's the ending inventory for the finished goods inventory?
So ending for large will be 300 and for giant 180.
Okay, so it's here, right? The green, the
Mhm.
green color, right?
Yep. Right.
You just have to be able to find it, right? Where you can find this information. So when you have the sales, you add the ending inventory. That's the total inventory you need, right? So it's either sold or unsold, right? If it's sold, that's the sales. If unsold, it's sitting at your ending inventory, right? So this is the total amount of the inventory you need, right? But you have some in the beginning, right? You have some in the beginning, and the difference would be the amount of production, right? So you know the beginning. So total needed is 3,300 for the large, 1980 for the giant, right? And now you know the beginning, right? The red color. So 200 and 150, right? The difference, that's your production. So basically you have to produce 3,100 for the large and 1,830 for the giant, okay? So if this is clear to you, give me a sum up. 1, 2, 3, go. Okay, very good. Yeah, awesome. So this is our production. Okay, so you can see like we are using this information, right? You just have to know where to find it, right? And you understand the calculation, right? Okay, so Inga, you have a question?
No, sorry.
Okay. Okay, so now we are good with the production. Then what's the next? And you can see, right, number C, we are dealing with direct material uses budget. Can someone tell me which inventory I should use now? Direct material uses budget. Ray,
You use your inventory information.
inventory.
So you have sugar
Okay.
and sticks.
Okay, good. Thank you. Yeah.
Yep.
So here, okay, we are dealing with materials usage, right? So we had to do sugar and stick, right? Okay, let's see. So where we can find this materials information, we have here. Okay, we have it here. Can anyone tell me where? Oops. Where I find the 3,100 units and 1,830? Where are these two numbers from? Does anyone remember where are these two numbers from?
From the production budget.
Yeah, these are the numbers you just calculated, right? This is the amount of production, right? You need, right? So now we are asking about the usage of direct materials, okay? So now you're gonna know the conversion, right? The conversion rate. So this here, the information tells me that in order to make each lollipop, I need 25 pound sugar for the large one and 50 pound, half pound sugar for the giant. So therefore, I had to produce 3,100 units large, and each will need 0.25 pound, okay? And you need one stick. And the giant one, I need to produce 1,830 units, and each one, I need a half pound and one stick. So therefore, I know, I do the multiplication, I know for sugar, I will need to use 775 pound. For the large one, I need 3,100 sticks. And for the giant, I need 915 pound sugar and 1830 sticks. So in total, I figured it out. I will need to use, I'm saying I need to use, I'm not saying I need to purchase, right? I'm saying I need to use this for the production. So this is a, you know, that one word, right? Use versus purchase, that's the big difference, right? So now I know I need to use 1690 pound sugar, and I need to have 4,930 sticks. Are we clear with this part?
I got a quick question, Professor.
Yeah.
So 1690 pounds and 4930 pounds, can we say that's what we need?
That's what we use to produce the lollipops, right?
That's what
For
we're
the
going
production.
to, okay.
Yeah. So can I move on?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now this is the quantity, right? This is the quantity. This is no dollar sign, right? Did you see dollar sign? No, right? This is the 1690 pound and 4930 pieces, right? Sticks. But we also want to know the dollars, right? We also want to know the dollars. Where we can find the dollar information? Can anyone describe where I can find the dollar information for materials? Yufeng?
Is it from the input prices?
Yeah, from the input prices. Okay. So basically, the beginning, let's do it two parts. Let's do it in two sides, right? This is how much you use, but this is the FIFO, right? So you're gonna use 1690 pound of the sugar, 4930 sticks, right? In terms of cost, right? In terms of cost, this is the FIFO, right? Remember, first in, first out, right? So you are going to use first this 125 pound at the beginning inventory. You're going to use this 125 pound sugar first. You're going to use this 350 sticks first, right? FIFO, first in, first out, right? You're gonna first use your beginning inventory. Is that clear? For FIFO.
Yep.
Yeah. And you know that cost, right? You know that cost. So if you use this 125 pound, that cost is 64. You use this 350, the cost is 105, right? How much more do you need? Okay, how much more do you need? I need 1690 in total. I already used the beginning balance, the beginning inventory 125. And the difference is how much actual I need to use, right? And the cost is from the input price. Each pound is $0.50, right? So for sugar, right, the additional sugar used other than the beginning inventory, that cost is $7.83. So the same idea, in total you need 4,930 sticks. You are using first the beginning inventory 350, and that cost is 105. And then you still need some more, right? The difference is the actual you need. And each one will cost 30, right? 30 cents. So therefore you calculate these numbers and then you add them up. This is the cost for the usage. This is the cost for the usage for this period. Does this make sense? Here we use the FIFO, okay? If this makes sense, please, 1, 2, 3, sum up. Okay, very good, very good. Okay. So you have to know FIFO, right? What does FIFO mean? FIFO means first in, first out. Okay. So for this materials inventory, right? When you use these materials, first in, first out, you are first using, you first consume the materials at the beginning inventory level. Okay. And then whatever the additional one you need, that's the new one. That's the new cost. You're going to use the June. You have to purchase that, right? For in the month of June, and the price is, you can see the input price is given, right? Right? Because at the beginning of June, right, you know you're going to use that. You know the cost, right? So you need additional. You had to buy it, right? You had to buy it during the month of June, and you know the cost number from the input price here, right? And then you add up them together, you know what's the dollar amount, right, for the materials used. Okay, so we are talking about consumption used. Next, what is the direct material purchase budget? Purchase budget, okay? So this is the used budget, but we are gonna do the next one, is the purchase budget, okay? It's different. Can I move on? Say it.
Yep, you can.
Okay, thank you, sir. Yeah, okay. Next one, direct material. Did you guys realize that I have a spirit of customer service? So the next one is the direct material purchase budget, right? Purchase. So now, which one should I use? Which inventory should I use? You know the materials consumption. You are asking about the materials purchase, and you know beginning, ending. Which inventory this is we are talking about? Yufeng?
You also need the ending inventory, the targeted ending inventory.
Which inventory?
For direct materials, in the
Yeah.
inventory information, direct materials. chart.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. So now let's take a look. We are talking about the purchase budget. Okay. Let's deal with the physical units. So in the beginning, for the materials, we have 125. The ending is 240, the sugar, and 350 for the steaks for the beginning, and 480. So we have the beginning and ending information for the materials inventory. So that is good. So the consumption, right? These numbers we figured out from the these figures we figured out from the direct materials used budget, right? So we add ending balance. That's the total materials required. And then we minus the beginning balance. That's the gap we have to purchase during June. Does this make sense? Okay, give me 1 second. Okay, I will count 1, 2, 3. Give me a sum up. Okay, very good. Very good. All right. If you don't understand, let me know, okay? If you have any questions, let me know. So we are done with the quantity, right? We know, the pound, right? The pieces. We know the quantity, right? For inventory, there are two parameters, right? The quantity and the cost, right? So now let's deal with the cost. So for materials, okay? For materials, so what is the cost to purchase? Okay, so let's take a look. So to purchase this sugar, each pound cost you $0.50, and each steaks cost you 30 cents. And you know how much you need to purchase. 180.05 pound times $0.50 per pound. 50, 60 steaks times 30 cents each. So that's the cost, right? You add it up, the total cost of purchase is $24.21, Does this make sense?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Okay, 1, 2, 3, sum up. Okay, very good. Okay. So it's not that bad, right? There's a lot of information, but you just do it slowly, right? You can't swallow it, just do it piece by piece, right? Follow the right order. Okay. I'm not sure if you have done this. In my class, in 2400, we have a budget project. So 1 month before the end of the semester, students worked in a group on a budget project. So they would do this, right? They would do this on a Excel sheet, okay? So we are done with materials. What's the next? Labor. Okay, let's do labor now, okay? Yeah. Let's do labor. Okay, so this labor is not inventory, right? This is not inventory. So let's take a look. Do you still remember that production level? We probably need to know that production level, right? Okay, so let's take a look. The production level is 3100 for the large lollipop, 1830 for the giant lollipop, right? This is from the production budget. So to make each unit, how much labor hours do I need to put in? Where can you find this information? To make each unit, Alexandra?
In input prices?
Input price?
Input quantities per unit of output.
Yes, yes.
It'll have direct manufacturing labor hours there.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but we also need to know the input price, right? Let's do it one step. So the first one is, if you take a look, these two numbers are from the production budget, and then you see on the top of the right screen, the red color highlight. For each unit of large lollipop, you need to incur 0.2 hours of direct labor. For the giant, you need 0.25 direct labor hours, right? So that's where the 0.2 and 0.25 are coming from, okay? So with this information, these two information, I can calculate the total amount of hours are required. So this large 620, giant 457.5. In total, 1,077 and half hour. Okay, this is the direct labor hours we need. Okay, and then, like Alexandra said, we need to know the rate. As I explained, it's $8. Okay, there's a typo here. So then you can figure out what's the direct labor cost. That's the 8,620. Okay, that's direct labor hour. That's the direct labor budget. Easy, huh? Easy. Okay, let's do this. 1, 2, 3, sum up. Okay, very good. So, okay, so do we have any questions? I want to just pause for a second. So far, does anybody have any questions?
No.
Awesome. I want to hear that answer from everyone. Jeremy.
I have a quick question. So like with respect to our upcoming, I guess, midterm one or whatever, if we're going to do a question like this, will there be enough time? It seems like this is a really a huge question to do, and will probably take up most of
What do you guys think? Okay, let's take a survey very quickly. Does anyone want a question, like just one question like this? Please sum up. If you don't like a question like this, please sum up. Okay. Okay, so I will listen to you. So I won't have this kind of question in the exam. Okay? So I will have like I won't have a bigger question like this. Okay. But I want to teach you this way, right? Because in the real life, this is how you do budget, right? You are not only doing one budget, right? You are not only do a sales budget and then you are done. No, you do a whole thing, right? You just follow through this, right? But in the test, I can just test a different component, right?
Is the test 3 hours?
Yes, just during the normal lecture time. That's next Friday, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You guys ready for that?
I mean, not currently, but I will be ready.
Yeah.
I guess we'll see next week if we are.
I came a little bit late, missed maybe first 3 minutes, but did you already explain what the format of the test as well?
Not yet. I will talk about at the end of the class today. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So, does anyone have any questions relating to the case I'm talking about?
No.
No.
Okay. So now I want to try. Okay. Can anyone tell me so far? You can just tell me what's the steps of doing a project. Who wants to volunteer to tell me what's the steps to do the budget? Jeremy?
You start off with your revenue budget.
Yeah.
Is that what you're asking? And then you follow the production budget in units, calculate that. It's pretty much the list if you go down.
Oh, I'm
Let's
not
keep
asking
going.
to see the list. Just tell me if you can recall everything you know in your mind.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Yeah, do you memorize this? That's my question.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to memorize it. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, fair enough. Okay, so can I move on? If I can move on, give me a sum up. Okay, good, good. So I will move on. So this is my direct manufacturing labor, right? Now next, right, is the overhead, right? Next is overhead. So the overhead, we are dealing with a machine setup, okay? A machine setup. And the cost calculation is based on, if you take a look at the input information here, so the cost is based on batch. There are 10 units per batch, right? So the production for the large, the total unit for production is 3,100. So that's equivalent to 310 batches. For the giant, you need 183. You need 1830 units. You need 183 batches, right? And the cost for each batch, okay, that's here. So the cost for each batch, you're gonna need 0.08 hours for setup. And each setup, the overhead rate is $20. So I highlight all these informations already using the red color, okay? So you have 310 batches. Each batch, the setup hour would be 0.08. So that multiplication tells me the total amount of set hours required for the large lollipop. And I will do the same thing for the giant lollipop. Okay, the difference is 183 batches and a little bit longer, 0.09 hours per batch. And knowing that each setting up hour is going to cost $20, so this tells me the total setup cost, overhead cost would be 825. Are we clear with this one? 1, 2, 3. Okay, half of the class. Ask me a question. If you didn't give me a sum up, ask me a question.
Where did you get the $20 per hour again? Sorry.
If you take a look at the kind of like right below the middle of the right side of the page, did you see there's the highlight, the red color highlight?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And one question, where did you get the 310 and 183 from?
That's from the production budget.
Okay, so okay. for
Yeah,
production,
so
got it.
no, pay attention. You finish the production budget, right? And that information will be required for material budget, labor budget, and
Right.
overhead budget. Okay, so
Mhm.
that information will flow into that three budgets. So it's critical, right? The production budget is critical. Yeah. Ask me question. I remember one time I teach 2100. That time was in the classroom, right? So I asked them to ask me some questions, and nobody asked questions, right? And I said, well, if you don't ask questions, I'm not gonna proceed. Okay, I'm okay with those the silence of the awkwardness, right? I'm totally fine with that. And then finally, one student cannot bear it anymore. He asked me, where did I buy my shirt? Okay, he likes my shirt. I said, well, that doesn't count. You should ask me a counting question. And he's very smart. Right away, he asked me, how much does it cost?
I mean, I can't blame him. You did ask, you did say ask him a question, so can't blame him.
Yeah, and right away I move on. I said, well, you are too smart for me. So I tried to move on. Okay, so next one is the, what is that, setup? And then the next one would be the process, okay, the process. Does anyone recall, how did I get this number? 1,077.5 direct manufacturing labor hour. Samarin?
We got it from manufacturing labor cost budget,
Yeah.
just total labor hour.
Yes, exactly. So from here, right, did you see? In my budget, we are trying to figure out what's the amount of the direct manufacturing labor hour we need, right? That's the 1077.5, okay? So you can see that this budget's information, they flow into each other, right? They are kind of related. Okay, so then it's pretty straightforward. Now the rate, oops, sorry. And the rate we know, did you see under the $20 per set hour, that blue color? Sorry, did you see the 1.7 per?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
$1.7 per direct labor hour. You saw that, right? And now
Yes,
you know
yes.
the total direct labor hour times the rate based on the direct labor hour. That's the processing overhead cost. That's the 1833. So you add this up, 2657. So that's your budget for the manufacturing overhead. Okay, any question on this? Good. How do you feel about this question now? Do you feel it's pretty difficult? Or if you think it's bearable, give me a sum up this question.
I think it's kind of tedious because the information it's not like one sheet. We're looking at potentially multiple sheets of different information, but just like pieces of each one.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really flow from like start to finish. It's like segmented. And I think
Yeah.
that's what makes it a little bit difficult.
Yeah, the way how this is gonna help you is the more you do it, you know, you will be more familiar with this, right? In the real life, actually, you set up the Excel sheet, right? All the cells are connected, right? So basically, you do it once. Next year, if the number change, right, you just update some of the numbers, right? But that you already built that template, right? But I understand it is tedious, right? So
Yeah, I
that's
have
why
the
I'm
Excel
doing-
spreadsheet going, but I have to, it's messy right now. I have to
Yeah.
move stuff around because like none of these questions are really flowing into each other.
You mean they are not connecting, or
They are connecting,
yeah,
but it's like, it's definitely like segmented.
yeah. So this is what happened, right? So first you have a sales project. So I want to try to help you to see the connection. So you have a sales project, right? Okay, and then you do the production project. So the sales number going into the finished goods inventory, right? Remember, the sales number goes into the finished goods inventory to help you figure out the amount of production, right? Do you remember?
Yeah. I think it's actually just the units. If I'm looking right now, it's like, it says per kilogram,
That's what
then it
I
has
was,
pound,
yeah,
but then there's like units of sticks versus pounds of sugar versus
Yeah.
dollars of sale price versus, so just like this
Okay,
just
I
like a
will-
constant, because
yeah, I
usually
will
when you look at a
summarize this.
financial statement, it's
Yeah.
all in dollars, right?
Yeah, good point. Yeah, I will try to summarize this for you, okay? So when you are dealing with these inventories, right? When you are dealing with this project, you're gonna have different things, right? You're gonna have things called quantity, right? Because you are dealing with at least two inventories, the finished goods and the materials, right? When we are talking about inventories, there are quantity and cost, right? For finished goods inventory, right? The quantity basically is the unit of the output, right? But for materials inventory, the quantity would be depending on the nature of the materials, right? Could be weight, could be volume, right? So it really depending. So you just have to be careful which inventory you are dealing with. And also the conversion, right? How many units, how many materials will be converted to one unit, right? You want to know that. And also the cost, right? The cost is another side. It just lots of information. I agree. Yeah, there's lots of information. And the more you do it, right? The more you do it, the more you go through this, it makes more sense, right? It takes me some time to try to figure out where the information is, right? You just have to do it slowly. Yeah, I know whatever I'm saying, it won't help unless you just practice more, right? You just have to do it by yourself, couple of times. Anybody else? I will not use the full lecture, okay? So I'm almost done today, okay? So we will not take a break if you are okay. So you can leave a little bit earlier. Do you guys think that will be okay?
Yes, that's absolutely.
Yep, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so-
that's fine.
Okay.
Sounds good, boss.
Okay. Okay. So let's keep doing. So now this is the manufacturing overhead cost project. Okay. I know too much information, your brain probably already shut down already, right? And now let's do the inventory. Okay. The unit, let's calculate the unit cost. So far we have done direct material, direct labor, manufacturing overhead, right? But remember now what we're gonna do. We want to know what's the unit cost, right? To make each unit, what is the unit cost, right? We have done this in the 2400. So let's do the next one. We want to figure out what's the unit cost. So let's say the unit cost for the large lollipop. So basically we are asking ourselves, what is the manufacturing cost to make each lollipop, each large lollipop? And what is the manufacturing cost to make each giant lollipop? Okay, so let's do it. 3 components. materials, labor, and overhead. So for sugar, right, the cost we know from the input price, right? $0.50 for the sugar per pound, 30 cents for each steak. For each hour of the direct labor hour, so that will be $8. For each machine setup hour would be $20. For each processing labor hour, that will be $1.7. And then to make each large lollipop, I need 0.5 pound sugar, 1 steak, 0.2 hours direct labor hour, and I need 0.008 hours of machine setup. Why? Because the setup hour per bench, that is 0.08. And remember, for each bench, there are 10 units. To work out a number for the unit, 0.08 divided by 10. That's your 0.008. And then for the processing, each unit, you are using 0.2 hour, okay? Labor hours. Then you can do the calculation. You figured out what's the unit cost for materials, right? You add them up. So it worked out to be $2.525 for each large lollipop. And then you do exactly the same thing using the information. You figured out the cost, unit cost will be a little bit higher, 3.155 for the giant lollipop. Does this make sense? Okay, 1, 2, 3, sum up.
Can you just go over it again one more
Okay,
time?
I will do that. Yeah, I will do that. Okay, here. Just give me 1 second. Okay, so we are asking ourselves, okay, what is the unit cost of this large lollipop and the giant? So why do we want to know that information? Because this is a FIFO, right? This is a FIFO. Okay, so if I know the number of units sitting at the ending inventory, and then if I figured out the unit cost, we'll be able to calculate what is the ending inventory in dollar amount. Okay, so what is the unit cost, right? Manufacturing cost, product cost. There are 3 components: material, labor, overhead, right? So I'm just trying to figure out to produce each unit of the large or the giant lollipop, what's the material cost? What's the labor cost? What's the overhead cost? And when I sum them up, that would be my unit cost, okay? So how should I do that, okay? So first, I want to collect all this price information, okay? So what's the cost for the materials? Oh, for each pound, it costs you $0.50. For each piece of steak, it costs you 30 cents. For each hour of the direct labor manufacturing labor hour is $8. For each machine setup hour, that's $20. Okay. For each processing cost, the direct labor hour is 1, and it's $1.7 from the right side below the middle. Okay, then you want to know, okay, these are the resources for each unit, right? How many units do I need to make an output? Well, I need 25 pound, 0.25 pound sugar to make a large lollipop. And each pound costs $0.50. So then the sugar will cost me 0.125. For steak, I need 1 steak, and each steak costs 30 cents. So the cost would be 30 cents. For direct manufacturing labor hour, to make each large lollipop, I need 0.2 hours, and each hour is $8. So for each unit, each lollipop, I need the cost of labor hour is $1.6. And for the machine setup, okay, for each bench, right, 10 units, the setup hours is 0.08 hours. We are working on the level of the unit, so you divide by 10. So that will be 0.008 setup hours for each unit, and times $20 cost for each hour. So that will be 0.16, 16 cents. So then the same idea, right? You worked out the processing each input need 0.2 labor hours, and each labor hours is $1.7. So you work it out, it to be 34 cents. So you add them up, you know that your unit cost is $2.5 for the large. And similar ideas, 33.155 for the giant. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think I just have to speak louder, right? To make it more sense. Okay, so let's take a look. Do you have any question? Sorry, if that makes sense, 1, 2, 3, sum up. Okay. Okay, now it's better. It's more students. Yeah. You know, I'm a little bit scared if I keep doing this, right? I'm getting into this habit, right? 1, 2, 3, sum up. And one day when the COVID is done, right? You know, I'm in the classroom and I'm doing the same thing, right? 1, 2, 3, sum up. Okay.
Not a bad idea, actually.
Yeah. So if you keep doing that, give me sum up, I will give you good marks, right? No, I'm just joking. So let's move on. We are almost done, okay? I promise you we're almost done. And I will quickly talk about midterm, the first exam, okay? So cost of goods sold, ending inventory budget, right? This is now easier. We know the unit cost, but this is a FIFO, right? To calculate ending inventory cost under FIFO, it's very easy. You know how much it costs each unit, and you know how many units is left at ending inventory. Just a multiplication, right? So ending inventory materials 240 sugar, 480 sticks. And the cost we know, right? That's how much we purchased, 0.5, 0.3. So that's the materials inventory. For the finished goods, okay, we know 300 large lollipop, 180 giant lollipop, and this 0.2525, that's from the previous slide, right? Now you figured out what's the cost for the ending inventory of the finished good inventory, and together, that's your total inventory. Does this make sense? Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, awesome. Awesome. Now let's do the cost of goods sold budget. So for cost of goods sold, okay, we use finished goods inventory, right? If you remember my slides. So you have a beginning finished goods, and then you have this manufacturing cost, right? So these ones are the numbers you have calculated already. Okay, this is, you all calculate this number already, materials, labor, and overhead. You have this number from the previous slide. Do you want me to show you? I will show you. Just remember 23, 26, sorry, 23, where is it? 23, 26, 8320, 2657. Okay, remember this three number. I'm going to find it for you, okay? Okay, let's see. Materials. 23, 26, that's the materials used, right? Goes into the finished goods inventory. Okay, 8620, that's the direct labor cost, goes to the finished goods inventory. And 2657, do we have this number? That goes to the finished goods. Okay, let's see. No, sorry, 2657, yeah. So these three numbers you already calculated, right? This is this is the increase, right? Manufacturing cost, the increase to your finished goods. And then you have a total goods available for sale. And then you minus your ending inventory, 1326, you have just calculated. I will show you. Here, the ending inventory for the finished goods inventory. So now you know cost of goods sold is 13,251. We only have one last one left, okay? Does this make sense? 1, 2, 3. Okay, so half of a class. So ask me a question if you didn't give me a sum up.
Where'd you get your shirt?
Okay, I will move on. Okay. So the last question is the non-manufacturing cost budget, and this one is a piece of cake. Okay, that base is based on sales revenue, and it's 10%. Okay, did you see the yellow color highlight on the left, on the right side? So it's it's based on sales revenue, and it's 10%. Okay, and do you know where this 16,200 coming from?
From the revenue budget.
Yeah, from the revenue
The sales
budget.
revenue.
Do you want me to show you from the very beginning?
No, I think we're
No?
good.
Okay.
Okay, so we are done for this calculation today, and there are some other there are also question 2, right? So think about how much we spend on this first section. So for the question 2, I'm gonna leave that to you. Okay, if you feel still kind of a little bit messed up with all these things, watch this video again. Okay, watch this video again. So for the question 2, it's a cash budget. Okay, you're gonna prepare a cash budget. I don't want to scramble all these things. I don't want to do this all in the same time. I think you will be really tired. Okay, so I want to leave some space. So you want to do this by yourself, and you know the answers here. Okay, and also you have a budget for the income statement for the month of June. This one is easy, right? You know the sales. We already calculated the cost of goods sold, right? And you know the 10% of sales is the cost, the period cost. So this one is pretty easy, right? And also the budget of the balance sheet, okay? So, what's the cash, AR, inventory, there are 2 materials. We know these numbers already, right? Fixed asset, So try your best to do this, okay? So, so for today, we are done, okay? I'm only going to open up for the question. If you have any question about what I have covered, please ask. So far about this case.